Did you see that shit? MMA podcast. Hosted by mixed martial arts journalist Mike Strauss, aka Strauss21, and Chicago's number one underground comedian, Apollo Taj Mahal.
Yo, Apollo,
What's up, man?
do you see that shit?
What?
Volkov wrecking Werdum.
Why am I always wrong? What's happening?
You know how it goes, man. You're always wrong, except for the times you're right.
Well, that's just a given.
It's like having a two-sided coin that's the same side.
Yeah. Wow. Holy.
UFC London.
Wow. Okay, man. Did I fart on this one? Did I yawn on this one? I didn't think I did. I think I said that this one was going to be exciting. It was going to be a barn burner.
I said that cards that look underwhelming on paper tend to be very good. And this one, prime example. UFC London delivered, man.
On all fronts, we had
Undercard, main card.
two fights. I think I didn't get to see them.
Two fights finished in 3 minutes and 59 seconds, and we're going to talk about one of them in depth a little bit later on. Just incredible, really incredible night of fights, really. So let's start from the top down, man. Werdum, Volkov. Volkov, 1 minute 38 seconds in the round 4, finishes Werdum with punches. Man, throughout I thought Volkov looked really good. Werdum had his moments.
Yeah, he did, but it kind of looked like age was finally there.
Did it?
Yeah, to me, like a little bit. It was weird. It was.
And you're talking about Werdum.
Yeah, Werdum, like age got him. Like he's 40. Like, and I think it's weird to say that, but he is 40.
Mm-hmm. He's going to be 41 in August.
Yeah, he's 41. And he looked great against Travis Brown. He looked great in his last couple fights. But man, I got to see him again to really know if it was age that got him or nutrition, or was Volkov really that good. But he looked slower. He looked outclassed. It looked like he was facing a whole nother level of striker that he has never seen before. That could be Volkov. Volkov could be just that next level.
Yeah, he could be. I think Volkov's great. See, we disagree a little bit. I don't really think I saw an older, slow Werdum. I think Werdum was competitive for I don't want to say the majority, but I would at least say an equal portion of that fight. I think when the fight went to the ground, I thought Werdum had his moments, but most surprised me in the entire fight was Volkov on the ground.
That was
very slick, very competent. Going against Werdum, who in 2004 won the world in gi. I mean, he is recognized as the best big guy to ever do it.
He submitted Kane. Like he's
and Fedor.
Oh, and Alistair.
I mean, the list is ridiculous with him. For Volkov to do more than just hold his own, that really impressed me.
He did not submit Alistair, if I'm correct. My bad.
Either way, it was a fantastic performance by Volkov, man, and I really do think he's that good, man. I think he may be one of the most dangerous threats to the heavyweight crown. We'll have to see. How about Jan Blachowicz and Jimi Manuwa? Unanimous decision for Jan. Now they're 1-1 in this series.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming. I thought it was going to be a knockout by either one of them, but Jimi Manuwa, he seems like a one-trick pony to me now.
I was never a big fan of the poster boy, Jimi Manuwa. Just never a big fan. I did pick John to win this fight. He did win.
Jimmy.
I didn't think Blachowicz would finish the fight. He just isn't that kind of a fighter. I figured he would kind of grind out a decision like he did. There was times that really scared me that Manuwa rocked him. He was able to weather the storm. He was able to correct a lot of the mistakes that he made in their first fight. He was definitely an improved version. Do I have interest in seeing a third fight between these guys? Maybe, just because there's nothing else to do in the division. So I would say, yeah, I don't know, maybe right now.
I wish people could hear me shake my head no. I don't know, man.
It wasn't really a bad fight at all.
It wasn't a bad fight. It was actually a really good fight, but it wasn't good enough to where it warranted me to go, I need a third. If it happens, I'm happy. If a third fight happens, I'm going to watch. I'm kind of like, okay, cool. But I'm not, Jimi Manuwa is now a one-trick pony to me. That's what he is. He's a guy that if he doesn't get the knockout, he loses. He's turning into like a really cheap version of Anthony Rumble Johnson. That's what he is to me now.
Not a bad analogy there. A fight that we might actually see get run back sooner rather than later. Tom Duquesnoy, a victory over Tyrion Flash Ware. A very close, unanimous decision, believe it or not.
I thought it was a split.
Nope, it was a unanimous decision. Now, Tom Duquesnoy should not have won that fight. Tyrion Ware, I've been in contact with him. Actually, I was speaking with Tyrion before this fight, but we just decided let's wait until after this fight. And, man, I've been in contact with him since this bogus decision. He is pissed off, needless to say. He has retweeted probably, I would say, close to 100 tweets, just with Dana White included, about how he's been robbed. And he was, man. Watch that fight. He was straight up robbed. It should have been a split decision going his way, 29-28. But, hey.
You know what, honestly, I had it as a split decision. Like, I thought that's what it was going to be.
Going for him.
Yeah, going for him. And then when it came out unanimous, I was like, hold up, what fight were you guys watching?
Going for Duquesnoy.
Yeah, I was like, huh?
Incredible.
Guys, like, it was a close fight, but Duquesnoy did not do enough to win it. And it just...
And you can't even say home octagon advantage because Duquesnoy is a French fighter and they're in the UK. So
yeah, what, you're just going to give it to a European guy? That's...
Yeah.
All right.
Confusing.
Is this the world... You know what, man?
I feel for Tyrion, man. He's had a bad go. Like, he's had a bad run in the UFC, and he's had great showings.
Yeah.
It just came out on the bad end of
Every
things.
time he comes out, he performs.
And then how about Leon Edwards, Peter Sabata? This is the first of the two fights that you mentioned that got finished at 4 minutes and 59 seconds of round 3 via TKO. Leon Edwards finishes Peter Sabata. I picked Sabata, but this is one of those pick'em fights I would have stayed away from.
Yeah.
This was way too close to call. It doesn't surprise me, but Leon Edwards' call out of Darren Till afterwards to headline UFC in Liverpool when they come back, I didn't like that because, you know, I expected Leon Edwards to do that, but listen, with all due respect, Leon Edwards is not on Darren Till's level.
You don't want that smoke, man. You don't want that smoke.
and you know, and by looking at the records, that isn't the right thing because Leon Edwards is 5. He's on a 5-fight win streak in the UFC's welterweight division. Who else is doing that? No one.
It also doesn't make sense for Darren Till to take that fight. And we talked about this before that, you know, you shouldn't be trying to pick fights. You fight who's in front of you and stuff like that. But Darren Till's in an interesting spot where he has some smoke underneath his name. A lot of clout around him right now.
Back just for him, basically. We're going to talk about Darren Till and who he should fight.
Yeah, he has a lot of clout. It makes no sense.
And then on the undercard, man, Charles Byrd, he ran through John Phillips. Danny Roberts smokes Oliver Enkamp. Danny Henry scores a huge upset over Hakeem Daewoo. That was just incredible. He was like a 600 dog. Then Dmitry Sosnovsky wins his UFC debut over Godbeer. Cajun Johnson had some crazy words for the fans, man, after his win against Stevie Ray. Did you see this or did you hear this?
I did not hear anything. I zoned out during these parts of the fight, so I'm sorry.
Cajun Johnson took a very close split decision against Stevie Ray. Stevie Ray is a very big fan favorite from, I think, from Wales. I want to say that part of the world. He's very popular. Cajun Johnson takes a very close split decision and then proceeds to grab the mic post-fight. And the crowd is kind of getting on him a little bit. And it's nothing personal. It's just their guy didn't win. And then he starts to talk, and then he proceeds to be like, "Why are you guys booing? Well, you know, we just had a great fight." Hold on. First off, this is the first of many things I take issue with. You had a very good fight. Great? No. You had a good fight. And then the next thing, the next group of words, being a writer, I have a huge problem with. Went a little something like this, and I'm paraphrasing, but this is the gist of what he said. We are the best mixed martial artists to have ever lived. Not me in particular. He's, you know, not saying he said this about himself, but fighters nowadays basically are the best fighters who have ever lived. How dare you boo 2 of the best in the world to have ever lived? How dare you boo just because your guy didn't win? Get over yourself, Cajun Johnson. Get over yourself.
Yo, someone is really in his feelings.
I mean, to me, that was ridiculous. Listen, man, these people paid their hard-earned money, and by the way, they do pay your salary in a way.
They want to boo you, boo, man.
Their guy didn't win, man. Big deal. Half them are full of booze anyway. Their guy didn't win.
Daniel Cormier got booed more than anybody I've ever seen for for no reason. Stop being a baby back bitch.
And then the second fight that you mentioned earlier that got stopped at 4 minutes and 59 seconds of round 3, Paul Craig threw up a Hail Mary triangle against Magomed Ankalaev.
So there's been a lot of Hail Marys thrown out this week.
Unreal.
And March Madness and football and everything.
Wrestling.
Hail Marys have been thrown. Best Hail Mary of the year.
Unreal. I mean, if you haven't seen it or you didn't watch that, I don't know why people aren't talking about this more.
I didn't watch this, by the way. I got told to rewatch it, so I didn't see it live. All I get told, I walk in the door and he goes, "Did you see the triangle?" I go, "No." He immediately pulls it up, shows me it.
Let me let me try to paint this picture.
I'm not doing a good job. But
so Paul the Bear Jew Craig, he is fighting the Russian monster, Magomed Ankalaev, 10-0. Just a Russian monster making his UFC debut. Highly touted. Paul Craig is a 900 dog. He's a massive dog, but he gets on the card. Paul Craig is a fantastic fighter. He's really fighting for his UFC life, too, because I think he's on a 2-fight skid. First ever in his career, too. He's a really good fighter. And this is no joke, guys. For the entire fight, Craig is getting manhandled, beaten, Khabib style. Just manhandled, wrestled.
He looked like Edson Barboza, not able to do anything.
To fully appreciate this, I urge you, you must watch the entire fight. Do not skip anything. Watch the entire fight. Because just to watch the closing sequence, you can't appreciate what he did because it looks just like a regular submission. But I urge you, I was watching this fight live, to watch this man be beaten the entire fight and to hear the clapper go off the last 10 seconds of round 3. 2 seconds after that clapper went off, so with about 8 seconds left in the fight, Paul Craig throws up a Hail Mary triangle. And right away, you're thinking, okay, this is a really nice attempt, but there's just only about 7 seconds left at this point. Dude's just going to hang on. Hell, if he goes to sleep, he wins the fight, right?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, but from the time Paul Craig threw his legs over Ankalaev's head and locked in that triangle, it took about 3.5, 4 seconds for him to make dude tap. Unreal. He did it with 4 minutes and 59 seconds left, with 1 second left.
It's ridiculous. It was like that guy, like, it got strapped on him and he panicked and he freaked out. He didn't know what to do. And then all of a sudden, he's just like, oh, I'll tap.
That's exactly
anybody
what it was.
who's never been choked out, you know, there's in there, oh, he should have went to sleep. No, going to sleep is not fun unless you have been doing it for a while and you go, all right, I know what's about to happen. I just hold on. Going to sleep sucks. I've been put to sleep several times. I got the nickname Smiley in my gym because when I'd fall asleep, I would have a smile on my face. Also, when I got knocked out, I had a smile on my face. You freak out. Your throat closes up. Your brain starts panicking. You start getting this whole body shiver down your body. And you're just like, what do I do? What do I do? And your body starts to freak out. Your brain doesn't even know you're tapping by the time you're tapping because your body is trying to survive. This dude, obviously in training, has never been choked out before.
Yeah, that's what it looked like to me. The way that he tapped so quickly, and you can tell by the way someone taps out. You can tell if it's reluctant. You can tell when a guy's kind of hovering like he doesn't want to. You can tell when someone's fighting it, and then you can tell when someone's panicking.
It was fast, too. It was like...
He panic tapped for sure. Just incredible to really appreciate it. Go watch the full thing. Just absolutely incredible. And if you haven't figured out yet, you are listening to the Did You See That Shit Mixed Martial Arts Podcast. I am Mike Strauss, aka Strauss21, alongside
Apollo, Taj, Mahal. How you doing, guys? Welcome to the show. By the way, we are the fastest growing podcast out there. You can find us on
one of them.
You're way too humble. We are the fastest growing podcast out there. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, and at our very old website at didyousseethatshit.com. Check us out. Hop on the bandwagon, guys.
Of course, like, follow, share, do all those things, guys. And social media, we're there as well. Instagram, Twitter. It's all the same, guys. DYSTSP. And there's a little underscore in between. Just look for the orange smiley face pooping his eyes. You guys know the routine. If you want to get more personal, give us a call. 708-669-4777. Let us know what we're doing good. Let us know what we're doing bad. Let us know we should change. Let us know something, anything. Give us an email, Mike at didyousseethatshit.com.
We love the interaction, guys. Speaking of interaction, the way we're able to interact with you right now is using our wonderful Lyx Pro gear. Lyx Pro audio, they have been helping us out
for sure,
sponsoring the show.
Not just headphones though, man. They have everything you're looking for, whether you're a professional, whether you're just an audiophile, whether you're starting a home podcast studio, or whether you just want a really cool kick-ass pair of headphones, as you said, or a microphone stand, some soundproofing gear, XLR cables. They literally have it all.
They are the only place that makes a mic that apparently can allow me to be me. So
we also got a little bonus for all of our listeners today too.
Oh,
thanks
yeah.
to Lyx Pro here. We're going to give away a brand new pair of HAS15 Lyx Pro headphones, and this is how we're going to do it, guys. All of our episodes get uploaded to YouTube as well as all the other amazing places we told you guys. So this was going to be episode 15. Go to YouTube, listen to this episode 15.
subscribe.
And then we're going to let you guys play matchmaker for a day. If you guys could be matchmaker of the UFC or for, pretty much the UFC, right? What dream matchup would you make? The best answer, judged by Apollo and myself, is going to get a brand new pair of Lyx Pro HAS 15 headphones.
And remember, guys, these headphones are so good, it made me want to work out. So definitely you need to hop on that. By the way, I'm down 10 pounds. I'm very happy with myself.
There you go. Thanks to Lyx Pro. We'll even cover shipping, guys, so it's 100% completely free for you.
Don't you just want to join the team, like Chris Weidman said?
LyxPro.com. Okay, Apollo. So we said a little bit earlier, UFC announces they're going to be right back in the UK, going to Liverpool. Darren Till is the headliner. They do not know who his opponent is yet. It will be announced shortly.
I can tell you who it shouldn't be.
Who should not it be?
The guy who just called him out.
Yeah, Leon Edwards.
I do not want to see that.
I don't either. I'm on board with you there. Darren Till would like to see Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. There's also some talk of Jorge Masvidal. Which one do you like better?
Well, I did a tiny little clap to Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, and I did a to Jorge Masvidal.
So you like the Wonderboy fight?
Yeah, both fights are good fights. I'm going to be 100% honest. Both fights are good fights. Jorge, I don't think he'll ever be a champ, but he just brings it every time, and he's fun to watch, and he's just
Game bred, yeah.
Yeah, he's just game, man. So I obviously I think he'll bring the fight, and because he's kind of not all there mentally, he's crazy, is what I'm saying. He could pull it off in some spectacular, crazy, I'm a psycho from Miami way. And then I think Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is just a more true test of his skill, of Darren Till's skill.
So you think it will be Till and Thompson, or who do you think it will ultimately be? And it's going to be the headliner there. First time ever in Liverpool. It's a big deal.
I think it's going to be Masvidal. I don't think Thompson's going to
Really?
take the fight. Thompson's smart. He
Well-
understands that that's too dangerous of a fight for him, and it has not a lot of title
Implications?
No, not really.
As of this morning of us recording this podcast, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson's camp says they haven't been contacted for this fight. So I don't know if that is anything to read into it, but
Yeah, well, we'll see.
so let's play some matchmaker here, man. Overeem Blades, they're coming up here in Chicago, UFC 225 in a few months here, and then Volkov just beat Werdum, right? What should we do here in the heavyweight division? Should Volkov wait to fight the winner of Overeem Blades? Or what do you think? What would you do?
Well, since I'm the bald one here, I'm going to be Dana White for a couple seconds. So let me take my hat off. Okay. My hat is now off. I'm now Dana White. Listen, guys, here's what's going to happen. Alistair Overeem is going to get knocked out by Curtis Blades. Then Curtis Blades is going to fight Volkov, and whoever wins fights for the title.
Hold on. I couldn't even understand what you're saying because I was so hung up on your accent. Is that your Dana White accent? Because you sounded like an Italian retard from Brooklyn that got punched in the face too many times.
Isn't that Dana White?
He's not even Italian, I don't think. I think he's Irish.
Oh, anyways, who cares?
He's from Boston.
Here's what I think is going to happen.
Boston's totally the opposite of that, actually.
Oh, they're all the same clump of crap.
Look at that. That's so racialist.
That's so racialist. I'm horrible to Boston. Listen, they're all
And
the same.
Italians.
And Italians, apparently. No, Boston and Brooklyn and basically New York are the same clump of crap.
Oh, there goes that fan base.
Yo, come at me. Yo, they will.
Come on, you.
I love Goodwill Hunting. Tommy Touchdown's the greatest quarterback of all time. Now, if Alistair Overeem wins, I do not want to see Volkov over Samir versus him. I don't want to see it.
You don't want to see who? Overeem Volkov? I
Yeah.
do.
No, I don't.
Oh, that's what I want to see.
I don't want to see it. I think it's yet again just keeping this circling of bullcrap to me.
Yeah, a little
If
bit.
Curtis Blade wins, I do want to see Volkov versus Blades.
Really? See, yeah,
Yeah.
that's more of a for me.
But it has more title implications to me.
I so badly want to let you in on a little secret, but it's way too early for UFC 225 picks, so we can't even do that yet.
All right. Well, are you going against?
I don't know.
Are you going against the hometown hero?
I don't know.
Are you going against the hometown hero?
Hero is a strong word.
He's my hero. I told you this.
So what about Ngannou and Lewis now? Because Ngannou just finally responded back from Lewis. You know, Lewis called him out. Now Ngannou basically said, okay, if you're serious about fighting me, have your manager get at the UFC. Let's do this.
Of course Francis doesn't want to fight anybody who can take him down. Who do I want to fight that is never going to go for a takedown?
You'd like that fight, though.
It's Knockout City, but besides that, no.
It's like a Fox headliner.
Yeah, it's like one of those fights that I was sitting at home playing UFC 3, and I was like, oh, this would be a fun fight to watch.
Really, that intrigues me. That fight does intrigue me, even though, yeah, it does. You have no interest in that fight. It just
plays to both of their strengths. Like,
for sure,
I want to see if Francis actually got better. Like, I think Francis can be an actual champion.
Does Francis beat Derek Lewis?
I think he demolishes him.
Really?
I think he knocks him clean to Queer Street. Like
what happens if Derek Lewis can do a typical Derek Lewis and withstand some of those blows, and then in the second round, Derek Lewis becomes Derek Lewis? And what if? I don't know. It's fun to think about, right?
It is, but let's ask Stipe if he thinks anybody can take a Francis punch.
Well, Stipe is a way, way better wrestler.
I know, but Stipe even said that was the hardest punch he's ever had.
Yes, no, he did. He definitely did.
So I'm going to say, Francis, if he hits you, it's going to hurt. And unless you're a championship caliber type of person, you're going to bed.
So speaking of wrestling, man, NCAA March Madness, the wrestling, the basketball, everything. It's just with the mixed martial arts and all the other March Madness, it's just, I'm about to lose my damn head.
Quick thing. This has nothing to do with MMA at all. Fuck March Madness right now.
Nuts, huh?
My whole bracket's fucked. Fuck you. I hope the FBI tears everything down, you sons of bitches.
I'd be willing to bet. I don't think anybody is going to accurately pick this bracket. I mean, it's just been remarkable talking basketball for a second in college basketball.
Fuck you, UMBC.
It's incredible, man. You know,
and Loyola Chicago. I get it. They're in Chicago. They're from here. Loyola, I should root for them. But you know what? I hope you win. Only so that I can throw a party.
But wrestling has been a focal point, too. There's been a lot of exciting wrestling matches.
Penn State.
Penn State is always. Cale Sanderson is just a phenomenal coach. Probably the best in the business.
Teaching him how to ankle pick from hell. Pow.
Another guy that had an amazing collegiate wrestling career who is now translated into the world of mixed martial arts, who is not just a wrestler anymore. He's a complete mixed martial artist, man. He is a Bellator guy. He has a fight coming up here in April. And we had a chance to speak with him. Logan Storley. I want to introduce Logan Storley. He's an undefeated welterweight fighter for Bellator MMA, and he's got a big fight coming up here in April against another up-and-comer, Joaquin Buckley. What's going on, Logan?
Good. How are you?
Doing fantastic, man. It's a decent little day here in Chicago. How's it going there?
It's good, man. Down here in Florida, I can't complain about the weather.
Yeah, you got a lot of sunshine down there, that's for sure, man.
Yeah.
You're at ATT now, right?
Nope, I'm at Hard Knocks 365 with Henry Hoof, Kami Barzini, and Greg Jones.
Oh, okay. How's that going? That camp now is really getting a lot of steam.
Yeah, we're doing really well. We got a great great team, great coaching staff, great partners, so it's good, I can't complain. So I'm happy with it, I'm really happy with it.
How long do you usually schedule your fight camps for?
I try to do about 8 weeks.
Okay, so just about 2 months.
Yep.
You always train though. There's not like you don't take time off, right?
Yeah, after a fight, you take a couple, probably 2-3 weeks, and let the body rest a little bit. But I go back to Minneapolis quite a bit, back to the University of Minnesota where I wrestled, and I wrestle with those guys and see all my buddies and former teammates and stuff. So it's not a lot of downtime, but it's something different, so I enjoy it.
Now, Joaquin Buckley, man, he's another up-and-coming prospect. What challenges do you think he's going to present to you?
Every guy presents, something a little different. He's a southpaw stand-up guy, so he's got some decent power, and so it's just another chapter in the book, and so I'm sure we'll have a game plan for him. But he comes forward and he throws hard, so we'll get together a game plan and be ready for this fight.
I know you will. Last time we spoke, you mentioned that you were getting a lot of rounds in with Robbie Lawler. Who are some of your training partners now?
Kamaru Usman, Danny Roberts, Gilbert Burns, Marquez Jackson. So I have a lot. Jason Jackson. So I got a lot of good guys. I helped Luke Rockhold get ready for the Romero fight. So there's a lot of guys in and out of the gym, and some of the best guys in the world. So I can't complain about my partners.
No, I mean Kamaru and Jason Jackson. I mean all those guys that you named. Those are all high level guys, as you are too, man. Bellator, their welterweight division now is really stacked, man. Me and my co-host, we always go back and forth because Bellator's welterweight division is on par now with the UFC's. How long do you think before you're competing for a belt?
I want to go through this fight, but I would say I'm probably about 3 fights out. 3 fights out from really being in that title contention. So at this point, I do what my manager and my team tells me to do, and this is a fight Bellator gave me. So we'll take care of this fight, and then we'll see where I'm at. But definitely by 2019, end of 2019, another year and a half, I would definitely like to be a year and a half. I'd like to be right there.
Yeah, I think 3 fights is that's a very realistic possibility for you, man. No doubt. I know, obviously you're not looking ahead of Buckley. I'm just, looking for the future there. Fighting in the Midwest is going to be kind of cool. You're going to probably have a huge following in Missouri, right?
Yeah. So it's not too far. I mean, it's still a little trip from South Dakota, Minnesota, but it's definitely, closer to home compared to being out at Penn State and Oklahoma. So, it's his hometown. So he'll have a good following, and I'll have my fans. So I'm excited. It'll be a great event.
Yeah, I'm going to be there too, so I'm looking forward to it. It's a really good card, man. Michael Chandler's on there too, so it's going to be a really, really good night of fights. A.J. McKee, you have a big background in wrestling. It's no secret. Weight cutting has been in the news lately. Do you think that we should add more divisions to mixed martial arts? What do you think we should do to kind of mitigate this weight issue?
There's definitely a lot of guys, but I think of course it'd be nice to add more weight divisions, but then you're just watering down the champions a little bit too,
Mm-hmm.
And then you got a guy that's jumping around all over, and then with the ranking system and everything, it just kind of makes things tougher. But I think there should be, whereas in college wrestling, you do a certification weigh-in in preseason, and your body fat and what you weigh, you have to be within so many pounds and be hydrated. And so I'd like to see something like that with MMA. If you're kind of, obviously it takes money and it takes guys to kind of look after, and make sure everyone's on par. But I think that would be something that beginning of a camp, or honestly 365, there should be, 365 days a year, you shouldn't be 40 pounds over,
Mm-hmm.
And you shouldn't be that heavy if that's what you're going to be fighting, because this is why we're seeing a lot of guys miss weight, as guys aren't walking around 20 to 25 pounds. They're getting up to 35, 40 pounds over, and so it's making it, it's really hard on your body, and you're seeing a lot of guys, not being able to make weight, and state commissions canceling the fight the week of, so I think there needs to be something in place where you have to be so close to your weight and with your body weight, some kind of certification.
Yeah, that sounds like a good step, man. I think the heads of MMA, they should get together with the guys in wrestling and try to figure this out. Those guys have been doing this for a long time. You bring up an interesting point about these guys walking around 40 pounds over, and, there's all this talk about head trauma, rightfully so. It's a dangerous sport. But I don't think people are talking enough about the guys cutting 40 pounds, the havoc that puts your body through, and the damage that can do in the long run.
Yeah, I think it's a big deal. When you're not hydrated, your mind isn't as sharp. When you're cutting weight, you're just not as sharp. And I know you have a full 24 hours and then some, but you're not the same person for people that cut that much weight. And so I think that's why we're starting to see, if guys were hydrated and closer to weight, it would definitely help out, I think, with just, the sharpness of how guys are fighting and how they're feeling compared to guys walking in there still pretty, not feeling 100%.
Well, I appreciate your time, man. Could you do me a quick little favor? We kind of have a tradition here on the show. Could you say this is Logan Storley and you're listening to the Did You See That Shit podcast?
Hey, this is Logan Storley, and you're listening to Did You See That Shit podcast.
I appreciate it, Logan.
Yep, no problem.
All right, there's Logan Storley, man. I'm very excited to see his next step of evolution in his game, man.
Yeah, you know what's weird about him is, when you see he's 7-0, and a lot of guys who come from wrestling, especially his heavy background, aren't knockout artists right away.
Right, it takes time.
They take time.
Check.
Yeah, they don't start knocking people out right away. He has been knocking people out the gate, and I was watching his wrestling, and while we were listening to the interview, and I commented, I go, his footwork is perfect for MMA, for how he wrestles.
Yeah, his wrestling style, it translates well.
And he's very slick, and he was a very good wrestler. And, that whole school has had great wrestlers. And speaking of our favorite, scariest man alive, that if he walked up to me, I'd probably apologize for everything I ever said to him, Brock Lesnar. He's the only man I will not say what I really think into his face.
So we talked a little bit earlier about Fabricio Werdum and Jimi Manuwa. Both those guys coming up on the short end of the stick this weekend, man. So let's talk a little bit about it. Werdum is now 23-8-1. He turns 41 in August. Jimi Manuwa, he now drops to 17-4, and he just turned 38. Are these guys done, or what do you think?
Werdum, I got to see one more fight before I say anything about him being done. Jimmy, one-trick pony.
We know that.
Start selling weed. Start selling weed just like Anthony Rumble Johnson, because you're going to get to a point where we're getting tired of seeing you fight. And yes, you're going to beat up on all the younger guys, but you're never going to win the title. So open up a weed shop. That's what Rumble did.
Okay, but then now Rumble's talking about getting back into MMA. So who knows?
You know what? If Daniel Cormier and John Jones don't ever come back down to light heavyweight, Rumble. Take that shit.
Okay, so you got Manuwa's life all figured out. What about Fabricio? What should he do?
You know what? Have one more fight. See how he looks. See how he feels.
Who do you like him against?
Ooh.
Because he wants a quick turnaround.
Yeah,
He's probably going to be suspended for a few months, but...
Yeah. Honestly, I would like to see him against Derek Lewis more than anything.
Really?
Yeah. If anybody if I want to see Derek Lewis fight, I want to see him fight for Doom. I would also
you don't think Werdum would just try to get that fight to the ground a la Alistair Overeem in Strikeforce?
Could, but he's
not going to want to stand with that monster, but maybe, who knows?
He tried to stand with Travis Brown, so you don't know. He's crazy.
Travis Brown. I forget. Werdum stands with strikers now, but look, it costed him. Look, it just costed him.
Well,
he's reckless at times.
Volkov is also a different level. That's why I said that I need to see another fight before I plan anything out.
It's probably a safe bet.
But if he's too old, if he is, let's say Father Time and finally went, you know what? Calm down, Werdum. Then I got his life planned out too. Werdum, boomerang instructor.
Apollo, do you realize UFC 223 is the next pay-per-view? Tony vs. Khabib, April 7th. It's just around the corner, dude.
Holy moly. I forgot about... I've been so excited about 225.
Right, yeah, me too.
Yeah,
man.
I've been so excited. I'm like...
223 is so stacked. It is unreal.
We got Thug Rose, too, on that card.
So I'm going to run on the main card, Apollo.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask you, besides the main event and the co-main event, the two title fights, I want you to tell me the fight people should watch and why. Let me run down the fights. Main event is Tony Ferguson, Khabib. Then the co-main is Rose defending her title against Joanna. Then you have number 11 ranked Renato Moicano against number 13 Calvin Kattar. Number 9, Michael Chiesa. Number 12, Anthony Pettis. Number 10, Ali Quinta against the unranked Paul Felder.
Okay, so I know the answer everybody wants me to give and think I'm going to give. But I'm going to flip it up on you. I want to see Anthony Pettis versus Michael Chiesa. I think people need to...
It's a great fight.
Really not sleep on Anthony Pettis anymore. He has had a lot of issues as of late with losing in the UFC. But he's still fairly young.
And he definitely is. And if you look at the guys he's lost to, I mean, they're all top legit dudes, man.
And he went down to 145, which I thought was a mistake. What he's doing now is what I thought he should have done a long time ago. Because when he came into
Which is what?
Bulk up. If you look at him now, he's looking thick. He looks like he's finally looking like a lightweight. Because he was a lot like Frankie Edgar. Didn't cut a lot of weight to make 155. I always thought he needed to bulk up a long time ago.
Him and his brother both are very scrappy guys.
Yeah, very scrappy. But man, I think if he bulks up, Michael Chiesa is a very good test to see where he's really at.
This is exciting, man.
Yep. And if he can pull out a win, I can see if he builds upon that, I think he can really do some damage in the lightweight division again. I don't know if he'll ever be a title holder again, but I think he can definitely compete.
I know it's still early and these aren't official, but if you're picking today, Pettis or Chiesa, I'm not going to hold you to it.
Today?
I'm not going to hold you to it, but...
Chiesa.
Really?
Yeah, because this does good for name recognition for Michael Chiesa, but as a fighter, I don't think it does much right now. I got to see what Anthony Pettis really looks like.
Well, one thing that I think gets forgotten about Anthony Pettis is people talk about his striking ability because of the Showtime kick.
Yeah.
Well, he's really not a striker. Watch his guard. He's got one of the best defensive guards off his back.
Ask Benson Henderson about his guard.
And Benson was also the gentleman on the other end of the Showtime kick too. But
wow, why is Benson on the end of all his highlights?
Yeah, right. I mean, they've had some wars, but I mean, I think that gets lost. People think Pettis, they think striker. The kid is very well rounded, so it's just a good point there. That's an amazing fight, man. I like the Ally Quinta Paul Felder fight. This is just going to be guaranteed blood, guaranteed chaos. Someone's going to sleep. Ally Quinta is just so explosive, and Paul Felder is very similar. I think the difference here is Paul Felder is cerebral, and Ally Quinta is more emotional. And I think that Ally Quinta's emotions may get the better of him as the fight gets closer, or as the fight goes on. I like Felder. Of course, this is early, but this fight is just, oh my God.
They don't call him Raging Al for nothing, man.
No, they definitely don't. And they don't call him the Irish Dragon because he's Italian. And interesting enough, man, Paul Felder and Anthony Pettis training together. Duke Rufus is for this camp, so.
It's going to be an exciting one.
They're also training with a Bellator fighter, Emmanuel the Matador Sanchez. He fights at Bellator 198 in Chicago, too, against Sam Silica, who is training partners with Michael Chiesa. So how about that? Full circle.
There's just this giant loop.
And speaking of Bellator, before UFC 223, one night before, as a matter of fact, Bellator 196 goes on. Benson Henderson against Roger Huerta. Yeah, not a bad fight, though.
I'm getting more excited as it comes closer. Like, when it first was announced, I was very, blah about it, and I made that very clear here. Something about Benson Henderson, You go to his Twitter, you see him training, it gets you excited.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how Roger Huerta looks. This is going to be a fun fight.
Yeah.
All right, so we're just talking about a lot of good lightweights, man. Paul Felder, Ally Quinta, Michael Chiesa, Benson Henderson, Anthony Pettis. I mean, all these really, really good lightweights. One of the former kings of the lightweight division, Rafael Dos Anjos, RDA. He made the move to 170, and he looks like a world beater, right? Looks amazing.
He is a tank.
I think a lot gets lost on how good his striking is. And a gentleman that helped him craft his striking ability, Jason Parillo. Gentlemen, we had a chance to speak with Apollo.
Oh, I was so happy.
Here's our conversation with the master, Jason Parillo. I want to welcome Jason Parillo. He's a head trainer at RVCA. He is the man behind some of the best hands in the sport of mixed martial arts. Michael Bisping, BJ Penn. Of course, we also have Cyborg. What's going on, man?
How are you guys doing?
Fantastic. I appreciate you doing this. I know that you are super busy. I'll keep it quick, man. Not a lot of people know, Jason, you were a boxer, man, before you were a trainer. You were 8-0 until injuries kind of derailed that. But did that help you transition into being a trainer?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I wasn't an MMA fighter. Obviously, I was a professional boxer. But yeah, of course. You gotta feel it. To pass it on. I think really at the end of the day. Definitely, just the pressure of fighting alone helps you as a coach. There's plenty of trainers in the sport. A coach has to understand the way you think a little bit, and you have to have been there, I think, to be a coach. At least in the firing line of some sort, and feeling the pressure of game day, and feeling the pressure of the week of the fight. The making weight and all that good stuff. I think that definitely is a big value in any coach.
Jason, I want to give you a huge congratulations for Cyborg. A lot of people were talking about after the fight that there was this apparent hole, that they think that they can find a way to beat her, but no one's been able to beat her in 12 years. I kind of thought it was funny. What did you think about it?
Well, yeah, I mean, they after she fought Tanya Evinger, they said the same thing now, didn't they? After she fought Holly Holm, they said the same thing. And now, I mean, Yana and the team were acting like they learned a great deal off of the Holly Holmes fight, and they thought that there was a lot of holes that they thought they can
take advantage of. But obviously, you saw what happened, and that wasn't the case. I mean, she got the girl out there in the first round. So if you're looking at it as somebody that stops at a big portion of their competition in the first, second round. I mean, holes or not, we all see something out there. But hey, Chris gets the job done. Her instincts are, whatever holes you see, her instincts are going to make up for.
And I'll tell you, I don't see too many holes in her game, and the people that are talking that are crazy. And you said exactly what I said. People were saying the same thing after the Evinger fight. That's all talk. But Jason, man, you have literally worked with the best guys in the sport. BJ Penn, Michael Bisping, like I said, Cyborg. Who hits the hardest out of everybody you've held pads for?
I got my man RDA coming in right now.
Wow.
I love RDA. He's a good guy. It was the hardest guy. I don't know. You know what I mean? I've had over the years. Probably none of the big names or the guys that I've felt on the hand pads hit. The weight of the hand's all different. There's some guys just have better leverage. Some guys just have more accuracy. Some guys just have better timing. There's a lot of different styles of punching, but the heaviest handed guy that I've ever held a hand pads for, I can't really even answer that question because it's probably not the name of anybody knows.
So there's an ongoing debate about power in a fighter and where that really comes from. And you've held pads for some of the best fighters in the world. Can you kind of give us a little insight? Is power something you're just born with, or is it something you can work on?
You can work on leverage. Like I said, there's definitely, you can teach people how to sit down their punches a little bit better. That's something that the big development with Michael Bisping. He usually, he fought a little high on his feet, a little high on his hips. So they're able to get him down to get proper leverage on his punches, to put some good power on him. But as far as just a lot of times you're born with that punching power. That's always been said, and people believe that, and I believe that as well. But really, I mean, you can develop your maximum amount of punching power. You can develop, I believe, being able to put your weight in your punch. But some guys are just blessed with heavy hands. They can be high on their hips and going backwards and punching the top of the head and knock you out cold just because they got that extra lead in their hands.
RDA is one of those guys. So, Jason, real quick here before I let you go, man, who's one guy or girl that you see out there that you're just like, man, they're a great fighter, but if I had a chance to work with them, I could take him to that next level?
You know what? My answer is going to be no, only because I don't really seek out fighters. I kind of let them come to me, really, for the most part. I always have. There's no fighter out there that I wouldn't seek out to work with or message him or told him I could help him out. Or, it's not something I've ever done. So I don't really look for that. I think any fighter out there, I could, if I had the right relationship with them and we connected, I could help out anybody out there. But it's just a matter of, for me, it's just a matter of proper connection between the athlete and the coach. Some guys try to train everybody, and for me, that doesn't work.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, I think you're one of the very best in the game. I'm very happy that people are starting to recognize that you're one of the best in the game now, and your work at RVCA is second to none there, brother. I appreciate your time. Also, the coolest looking gym I've ever seen. It's like MMA heaven. Like, I just want to go in there and dive on those mats. It looks amazing.
I know, people love it, man. It's nice. I'm very fortunate. I'm blessed. My man, Pat Tenori, he gifted that to me in a sense. So, I'm a lucky man. Yeah, it's a nice place. I appreciate the compliments about it.
Well, you deserve it, brother. Thank you for your time, man.
All right, guys. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
All right, peace out.
Alrighty.
Do you think you'll actually allow me to dive on his mats?
Don't know. Maybe.
Ooh, I wonder
Just
if
don't
we
dirty him.
I won't dirty him, but I wonder if he would actually give us a quick boxing lesson if we go down there.
I'm probably why not, if he's not doing nothing.
I know. Hey, Jason, I might have to come see you if you allow me.
So another one of the fighters that Parillo trains, my Michael Bisping and Rockhold. This is kind of getting some steam.
I don't want to see it.
I don't either, but why don't you want to see it? I have my reasoning. I want to know what yours is.
Because it means nothing. It's a nothing fight.
Especially at 205.
Especially at 205. Michael Bisping wants to fight for a last hurrah. He wants a retirement fight. For everything he's done, he deserves it. Luke Rockhold is looking to be a champion again. He's looking to be a contender. You want to be a contender at 205. Why are you fighting Michael Bisping on his last fight?
Gus makes sense.
Yeah, like Gustafsson makes sense. Maybe even I had to say Shogun makes sense.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I'm trying to think of his
Let's
name.
bring back Stephan Bonner.
Fuck it. Even a fucking Stephan Bonner at this point. Goddamn Forrest Griffin, Chuck Liddell. I don't give a shit. Those make way more sense than a goddamn Michael Bisping who wants to last hurrah. Like it's.
You know why I don't want to see it? And I can't take credit for this because a couple of writers pointed this out, and I thought about it, and I 100% agree. Bisping and Rockhold are 1-1. And let's let it end like that, because these are the two type of guys that 20 years later, these guys will still be bitching at each other about, we're 1-1, but I would have got you. So 1-1 forever.
Yeah.
And, you can see these guys 30 years later. You can see these guys being like, So for that reason, this is epic.
I think the only reason I want it that way now that you pointed it out, because I don't think it's going to bother Michael. Michael doesn't care. Michael's like, I won the title off you.
Exactly.
I don't even care.
And he has that on him.
Yeah, he has that.
I want him to have that on him forever.
And I want Luke Rockhold to have to live with that. Like, I don't ever want him to fight Yoel again.
Because if Michael Bisping and Rockhold fight for a third time and Rockhold knocks him out, then what?
Then it's just
over.
Like, it's like, oh.
But if it ends like this, Bisping knocked him out and took the belt off him, and that's forever.
Oh my!
And that's how it should be, because these guys will always dig at each other. And hey, speaking of digging at each other, did you see who's digging on these nuts?
It's time.